Congratulations! Statistically, only 2% of people who purchase a book actually go on and do the training associated with it. Consider yourself in an elite class of action takers. I'm extremely excited you're here today because at this point you should have already read the book or are in the process of reading the book. If you are here, it's because you are ready to invest in yourself by going deeper into the 5 steps of creating your unique legacy code. In this manual, I walk you through the streamlined version of all the exercises in the book to help you create your legacy. You will get out of this what you put into it. Be honest with yourself, and most of all, don't be paralyzed by trying to be right. This is more of an adventure of discovery. It will help you discover more about yourself, and as time goes on, you will find what works best and fine-tune your approach. I applaud you for taking these steps and purposefully and powerfully create your legacy. Now let's make this happen. Awareness. We're going to go through each of the exercises and answer them honestly. Don't get stuck on any question. Answer as best as you can right now. You can always go back and edit later. Now let's get to it. The first one. We're going to be focusing here on tapping into the eulogy. Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. So we're going to shift all the way to the end of your life. You're actually dead. And so this is the eulogy exercise. And so the first question I want you to consider is, if you died today, would you be happy with how you lived your life and with the impact your life had and will continue to have in this world? Then ask, would you feel fulfilled about the tools and experiences you left your kids or your loved ones? Would you feel happy with the life you created for yourself and your wife? Number 2, imagine your wife eulogizing you. What would you want her to say? What would you want her to feel? Take a moment and write this out now. And throughout this, as you're writing, you could always press pause and write out everything. And when you're done, move on to the next one. Number 3, imagine one of your kids eulogizing you. What would you want them to say? What would you want them to feel? What life lessons would you want to have taught your kids? What experiences would you have had together, laughed about, and cried about together? Number 4, imagine a close friend eulogizing you. What would you want your friend to say about you? What would you want your friend to say about you, your vision, and the impact you made on his or her life and the world at large? Legacy. This is where we get to define and refine legacy. So the first one is, how do you personally define legacy? Number 2, finish these 2 sentences. Legacy is not. Here we're going to shift to happiness. Think of 3 things you're grateful for and write down why they're important to you. Remember, the whys are the drivers. The whys are the things that really move you when times get tough. So don't just write them down, but write down the whys. And if you're stuck or unclear, ask yourself how I can start serving others. And as you go and get into that state of service, you'll start tapping into gratitude a lot better. So again, think of the 3 things you're grateful for and write down why they're important to. And again, if you're still unclear, ask how you can serve others. Vision. Vision is your what. This is where you gain clarity on exactly what you'd like to create, the life you'd like to live. Now let's get answering some questions. What is the kind of life and impact I want to create for my family? Number 2, what is the type of person I want to be and how do I want to influence people? Number 3, what kind of work do I want to be doing and how do I want to bring value to other people's life? Remember, as I go through these questions, pause the video and answer each question and then move on. Don't just run through all of them. Pause the video after each one and write down your answer. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, but the point of this is for me to personally walk you through this. And so I want you to take this opportunity. You've created this space to listen to this video, to take the time to fill these in. Number 4, what kind of impact or gift do I want to leave this world? Number 5, what is important that people that matter most know today? Number 6, what and who brings joy to your life? Number 7, what or who would break your heart if they weren't in your life? Number 8, what is it costing you not to fulfill your legacy? Number 9, who loses out? Number 10, what are the effects of that legacy not being realized to yourself and to those closest to you? Number 11, what would you want them to take away from any experience with you? Number 12, write down why these things are important to you. Number 13, what is your belief? Who is missing out if you don't show up as the greatest and grandest version of yourself? Purpose. Purpose is your why. It is the people, experiences, and things that drive you. You find it by going inwards. Begin your discovery process with the following questions. What are 3 things, people, or experiences that matter most to you? Number 2, why is each of these important to you? Number 3, is there a way to combine any of these things, people, experiences to make their impact stronger? Let me give you a quick example from my life. One of my whys is my family. My family drives me. My wife, my kids, being able to provide for them, being part of their lives. And so how do I combine experiences and these people that matter so much to me? Well, one of the ways that I do it is stepping into environments that inspire me. So nature is a really important part of all of this. And so I try to get into nature with my family as much as possible to remind myself and to step into my purpose. And so when things get tough, I can remember back and use those experiences of being out in nature and the memories that we create as a powerful driver when I don't feel like doing anything, when I feel kind of sluggish and blah, if you feel. So I want you to combine people and experiences to improve or make the impact stronger when you think about your purpose. Number 4, as you read over these, which one are you naturally drawn to the most? Which one moves you the most? Again, there's always, when we look at these things, as you write and write and write, what you'll find is that there are going to be some things that kind of pop out. You're like, man, this one really resonates. And as you're writing initially, don't judge. Just write as many things as possible so you have choices and you can experiment in and out. Number 5, think of this like trying on a pair of sneakers. You try on multiple pairs to see which one fits best. Then you walk, run, jump around to see if they feel good under more extreme conditions. Experiment using one of the experiences you selected above as your purpose for the next 2 weeks. When you don't feel like doing something or when you encounter an obstacle, ask yourself, how can I implement one of these experiences to shift my state of thinking or being? Let me give you a quick example of how this plays out. One of the things that I've been doing is I run. My goal is to run every single day. But what I've realized is that I really enjoy and love running at like 3 in the morning. But it's very difficult. And so sometimes that feeling of comfort of being in bed and feeling tired overcomes my feeling of wanting to be out there. And what I've been doing is reminding myself of the stillness of the morning, because that is one of the things that the peace in the morning at 3 in the morning, that there's no one out. I'm running in the trails, dark by myself, and I can see the stars and I can feel the ground, and all that sensory input and that experience of putting that in my head in the morning when I'm fighting my brain that says, hey, go back to sleep. I think of those things and it helps me move past it. And so this is a little micro why. This is not my big why that drives my entire life, but it's a why that helps move me in the direction that I want in this particular goal or set of actions. So take that moment and write that now. The people in your life will determine the quality of your life. People can have direct impact on your actions, your consistency, and your growth. So let's answer the following questions to gain a little bit more clarity around the way people are influencing you. Think about and write down the names of 5 people in your life that you spend the most time with. Number 2, how do they help you grow? Number 3, how do they hold you back? Now, for the people that matter most in your life, whether it's your family, some friends, a special person in your life, how are you living that allows them to know that they matter most, right? So this is setting the context for if these people actually are that important to you, do they even know that? So how are you living so that allows them to know that they actually matter most? Number 2 here, how are you serving and supporting them daily? Number 3, how are you present in their lives? Process. Process is your how. This is where most people want to start, but without doing the work on your vision and your purpose, focusing on your process just becomes a distraction. Now let's go through the next 3 questions. Number 1, once you're clear on what your vision is, then you can begin to start taking the steps to break it down. You can work backwards and say, if this is who I want to become, what I want to achieve, and how I would like to impact people, what does it look like on a yearly, monthly, weekly, daily, and hourly basis? So take a moment and think about that. As you've gotten clearer now on that bigger vision for yourself, what are the things, the action steps that you need to start taking? Maybe yearly, maybe monthly, weekly, daily, hourly. For me, I find it very helpful to focus on the daily, because if you do it every day, you create that habit, and the likelihood of you maintaining that consistency increases. So think about it from those terms. Number 2, how do you want to feel about the process? We're sensory beings. So how we feel about things is actually very important, regardless of what people say and think that, oh, just do it. No, there's different ways of doing things. So how do you feel about that process? So you can start creating this plan, but you really have a big aversion to it because you really are not connected with any part of that process. So look at that process and ask yourself how it makes you feel. Number 3, just imagine you're living Groundhog Day, where every day would be the same, or you knew in 1 month you were going to die. So in other words, this is it. You're going to live the same day over and over and over and over. What are the non-negotiable components that would be part of your day-to-day life? Who are the people that you want part of your day-to-day life? What rituals and routines would you want on a day-to-day life that really enhance and amplify your life? Write those down now. Now we shift into the path, because there are many paths to the same place. And as you create a process for your vision, ensure your focus on the quality of life. And your quality of life will improve when your relationships improve. So let's answer the next 4 questions. I encourage you to pay attention to the quality of time you spend with the people that matter most. How present are you in each situation? In other words, Look at the people that matter most, and when you're spending time with them, how present are you when you're with them? Are you distracted by the phone, by social media, by the TV, by other things that really, if these are the people that matter most, should take priority? Number two, when you are with family on vacation, are you present? Are you there mentally? Number three, what kind of time limit boundaries do you set to improve your relationships and quality of life? So sometimes it's setting up these time limits and say, oh, I'm going to work from X to X amount of time, and then I shut everything off and I'm with my family. And on the flip side, that used to happen with me. I work from the house a lot of times, and when the kids were smaller that they weren't in school, they wanted to play all day. And I couldn't do that. So I would set time boundaries for the work, but then also for the play. So I would say, one of them would come knocking on the door and say, oh, can we play? And I'd say, okay, let's set the timer for 10 minutes. Daddy's going to work for the next 10 minutes, and then we're going to play. When the timer went off, I would stand up, and I would put the timer for 10 minutes. I say, okay, we're going to play for the next 10 minutes. When the timer goes off, Daddy's got to go back to work. The time limits work both ways to help you maximize what it is that you need to accomplish and what your vision is. Number four, are you clear on what your priorities are? Number five, what systems or routines can you set in place to ensure you invest the necessary time on your priorities daily? Number six, what are your priorities for the day? How can you maximize your time, your focus, and your energy on those priorities? Your actions illustrate your priorities. Number seven, do your actions support your priorities? Number eight, how can you create space in your day to live the life that you want? Number nine, how can you create the space to do the work that inspires you? Number 10, how can you create the space to revitalize your health? Without our health, we can't enjoy the experience of life if we're sick all the time or lacking energy. So, how do we revitalize your health? Number 11, how can you create space to create the relationship you want with your wife and kids? Number 12, how can you create the space to leave the impact or contribution you want to leave in this world? Now, this is my system that I have found to be absolutely transformational in my life and the life of my clients. And I want to give it to you today because I find that it's so powerful if you do it. And I call it simply the big three. So here's step one. Schedule your personal and family time. That means your exercise, meditation, reading, learning, whatever me time you want and need. Then schedule out non-negotiable family time. And I literally mean scheduling this out on your scheduler the night before. Step two, write out the three most important things you must get done the following day. Then schedule the time to do them, preferably sooner than later. Step three, schedule the other stuff. The other work stuff, meetings, errands, and anything else. And that's it. That is the big three. It is simple, but powerfully effective. Implementation. It's time to implement what you've learned. Notice I didn't say perfect. Think about your car's navigational system. When it's on, if you take a wrong turn, what does it do? It reroutes. Your life can be a series of reroutes as long as you keep driving. Now let's take some action. Below are three questions that can solidify what you've learned in this book in a way that is applicable in your life. It helps to bring meaning to it all. Question number one. What's one of the biggest takeaways you've gotten from reading this book that you can use to improve your life or the life of others? Number two, how do you feel this book has helped you move closer to understanding and creating a legacy that excites and inspires you? Number three, what's one action you can take today to ensure you are moving one step closer to creating that legacy. One last thing before we go. At this point, we've gone through the course here, and I have one more thing right after this, an invitation that I'd like to extend. But if you haven't done so, let me remind you and ask you really if you would please write a review on Amazon. And this is important because the more reviews that we get, the more people get exposed to it. And I'm sure you've read Amazon reviews in the past and made decisions on that. And if you found this book valuable, the more reviews we get on the book, it'll reinforce to someone who has no context for the book that says, I'm curious about it, and now they read your review, they may pick up the book, and it may change and transform their life and the life of their family. So I've actually created a resource. If you go to legacycodebook.com/how-to-review, I walk you through the process of writing an Amazon book review. So if you haven't done so, go to this website. I'll walk you through it, and please leave a review. It will be very helpful both for myself and for those coming and experiencing the book for the first time. Now, last but not least, this is my invitation. You are part of the 2%, and I want to honor you and celebrate you for doing that. As part of this growth process, you will undergo obstacles and struggles. Perhaps you're the type of person who values hyper-focus and speed of results. If that's you, then you're the perfect fit for coaching. Imagine facing any obstacle, frustration, or struggle armed with the confidence, clarity, direction, and focus that only a coach can provide. I'd like to help you powerfully break through and thrive. If you want faster results and a bespoke experience, here's my gift to you for taking action and being part of the 2%. I want to gift you a power discovery session. It's a $300 value, and I want to give it to you absolutely free. In this session, I'm going to personally help you gain clarity around your biggest obstacles or challenges and the most powerful next step you can take to overcome it. If you're committed to creating this massive change and want to schedule your power discovery session, I want you to do 3 things. Send me an email at acruz@cruzcountry.com. Use the subject line, I want to schedule a PDS, and I'm going to send you my calendar. And let's set up this power discovery session because we've walked you through this entire process. You've read the book. How much more powerful would it be to address any hiccups, any struggles, any obstacles you're still facing and address them in that one session? So go ahead, do that now, and continue to create a purposeful and powerful legacy. Take care.